Hello, everyone. Welcome to the workshop all about goal setting for the mid-year of 2018. I'm really excited for this. You guys that are a part of the What It Takes, the mailing list, the email list. Most likely you guys were either a part of the one that I did back in January, where basically I had you guys set your guys' goals for the rest of the year. Obviously, New Year's resolutions, right? But I thought that it would be perfect timing to have kind of like a mid-year goal session, because the thing is, we all kind of lose sight of our goals and our New Year's resolutions. And I feel like mid-year is a really good time to kind of go back to those goals and resolutions and see where we're at, see what new goals, we want to achieve for the rest of the year. So I was excited to put this together for you guys. Just so you guys know, there is a chat box to the right of your screen if you're on a desktop. If you're on a mobile device, it'll be on kind of like a little bit of a sidebar, but on the bottom of your device that you're using. And you can click into that and you can type in the chat box that way. Or, you can just type in the chat box on your desktop if you have like a keyboard. So I have a feeling there's probably not going to be too many people. This is kind of a little bit more of an intimate number of people that signed up for this, and I'm sure it was due to the fact that a lot of people are coming back from the one I did, like as a continual from the one that I did back in January. So it's going to be a little more intimate, so that's always really fun. So please make sure to take advantage of the chat box, you guys. I want to make sure that you guys ask any questions that you have. If you're watching this as a replay, if you do have questions, you're more than welcome to email me. I always try to respond as soon as I possibly can. I do get kind of busy sometimes, so sometimes it's a little bit of a delay, but I will answer you back if you do have questions after today. Alrighty, okay, so I do want to go over a little bit. I went over the chat box. I want you guys to make sure that you have some water nearby. This workshop, it's pretty, we're going to actually be going through like a whole workbook. So it is going to probably take over an hour. I had mentioned between 1 to 2 hours. Since there's not as many people as of now anyways, we will probably, there might not be as many people interacting. So it might go faster, it might go longer, who knows. And let's see, what else is there? Trying to think of anything else. I do have a cat. Right now she's not around, luckily, but she does sometimes like to come on the camera and kind of walk around in front of the computer. So just be aware of that. It is my cat. And she might, I don't know, try to get my attention or something. So she does that from time to time, just as a forewarning for you guys. And let's see, anything else that I have for you guys? Yeah, so actually today is the first day of summer. And I thought it was a really great opportunity for us to set these goals for the rest of the year. If any of you guys are into anything that has to do with like the moon cycles or just like the cycles of the like planets and stuff like that, it's really interesting because right now the summer solstice is happening. And this is actually like the perfect time for us to set our intentions and our goals. So I thought like, okay, so I could put this workshop together on the 21st, be perfect timing for us to really plant those seeds, plant the goals and the intentions that we have for the rest of the year. So I was really excited to put that on that particular day. And it's like the longest day of the year too. So that's always fun. And I hope you guys are having a good summer so far. You may or may not be on a summer break. Most likely you're not, but if you are, I hope you're having a really good one so far. In Southern California, it's been kind of hot. Today was pretty hot. Yesterday was a little hot, at least where I'm at anyways. And it's been a really pretty nice weather lately. The past week, it was pretty calm. Kenneth and I were working in a shop for 3 days straight, and it did get pretty hot in there, but that's all the way in like past Pasadena area. So I don't know. I don't know exactly the difference between the different areas of Los Angeles because it does differ, sometimes even like 5 degrees. It's pretty crazy, especially if you get more towards the ocean. But anyways, let's see. So make sure you guys ask questions along the way. I'm Amber. I'm the host of the workshop. If you're new to the What It Takes family, I'm the creator of What It Takes. So I actually directed and created a film all about makeup artists and what we do to sustain a career in this industry by struggling and trying to make ends meet. And, you know, I was able to interview over 40 makeup artists, and about over 20 of them were Oscar or Emmy winning makeup artists. So there's a lot of really, really good insights that they had to offer throughout the whole hour-long documentary that I directed. So definitely check that out if you're interested. There is some links below that you can go and check that out, whether you want to purchase a DVD with all the bonus features, or you could just get it on a digital download. Those are both below. I hope you guys have your workbooks ready and printed out so you guys can follow along, because this is an interactive workshop, all right? And then if you guys want to know anything more about me, feel free. There's a little bit of a bio below, but pretty much a little synopsis. I've been doing makeup for about 10 years now. I've worked with celebrities. I've worked on, you know, really big ad campaigns, runway shows. I do a lot of ad campaigns and commercials. So feel free to, you know, go on my website or something like that if you want like specifically what I've done. But I want to hurry up and dive into this workshop because it's pretty interactive and I want to make sure that we keep within a good time frame. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. If you want to take your guys' workbook and get those out. So first things first, this is all about goal setting. So the way that I tailored this workbook, I created it all by myself. It's not the fanciest, but it's all encompassing goal setting, and it kind of incorporates like mindset work in it as well. There's some budgeting stuff that I'm going to go over as well, because I really feel like if you're not in the right mindset, you can't achieve the goals that you want to achieve. You have to be in the right mindset, because once your mindset is in alignment, it's this whole psychological process. If your mindset is positive and it's, you know, it's supportive of what you're trying to go for and it's in alignment with what you want to do, the confidence then reflects all of that, and you're able to do a lot of really amazing things that you may never have thought were possible. And I am like the first person that can attest to this. It works. It is, it's amazing what it can do for you. So definitely don't underestimate the power of mindset and mindset shifts and getting yourself into the right mindset. Like I said, I go over a little bit of like budgeting and stuff like that, because, you know, mindset is great and everything, but sometimes, you know, it is about like the logistics of just straight, like, let's actually be realistic about this and budget. There's a book that I actually picked up, and it was kind of like an eye-opening book because it's all about budgeting, and, you know, it really kind of throws out everything to you, like in front of you of like, okay, what are you really spending on? Like, what are you really spending your money on? It's a book, I forget, it's called Rich Bitch. That's what it's called. Rich Bitch by Nicole Lapin. Nicole Lapin, that's her name. So you guys should check that out. So I kind of intertwine some of those principles that I learned through that book in this workbook. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. Feel free, you guys, to say hi in the chat box. I have it on the side. I'd love to know who is in the live chat right now. Say hello, tell me your name, where you're from, and all that good stuff. If you feel, you know, the urge to, you definitely don't have to. I'm not forcing anything on anybody here. Okay, so first question of the workbook on the first page is, how do you feel right now in your career? So I really believe that feelings are incredibly powerful in the process of really aligning ourselves with what our goals are and what we want to achieve in our lives. And so really taking in consideration how you feel right now is your kind of like your first step. Do you feel like you are struggling? Do you feel like that you aren't where you want to be? Do you actually feel comfortable where you're at? What do you feel? How do you feel in your career right now? So I just saw somebody in the chat, Jenny Thomas. Hi, Jenny, from New Jersey. Hello. I've been following your journey, Jenny, on both Facebook and Instagram. So she actually, she's been doing some really amazing things. I really enjoy watching what she's doing. So hi, Jenny. Thank you for saying hello in the chat. So yeah, how you feel in your career right now? Do you feel confident? Do you not feel confident? Do you, are you fearful at all? Are you in a, I don't know, are you in a state of, I don't know like specific words of how to explain it, but what I put for mine personally, and I am going to share my personal answers with you guys because I want to be transparent. I'm not, I am definitely not the type of person that's like, I'm not going to tell you anything about me. Like this is all, we're all in this together. So what I wrote in my answer was that I feel pretty steady. I do finally feel confident in my work and my rates. However, I don't feel as like stable with how I conduct my money and how I like with savings and stuff like that. So I could be better about how I spend my money and also how I save it. So that is how I feel right now in my career. I feel great. There's definitely some things here and there, when you're waiting on checks and things like that, it can be really frustrating. I'll go in that into that later. So write down how you feel right now in your career. And if you guys were a part of this workshop back in January, go back to that and see if there's a difference. Compare your answer to this, and also keep this, whoever is currently doing this right now, keep this so that you can come back to it. Because something that is really cool is writing all your goals and your feelings and your thoughts down and then coming back to it and comparing. It's a really cool thing to compare that. I've done that with journaling and stuff like that. And you guys, journaling is a really, really great thing to do as well. Okay, so next question or next section, write down some of your biggest frustrations. So as I was just saying, writing things out, whether that's journaling or filling something out like this, is incredibly helpful to your psyche. When you write things out, that's why so many psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists suggest journaling. They don't suggest it just for any old reason. It's because there is statistics that show when you actually write your feelings out in whatever way, whether that's poetically, whether it's just, all your frustrations, whether every single day you write your feelings and stuff, there is a psychological release that happens. And when you write your frustrations down, it'll just get it out of your system. It's like a stress release in a way. So for me, I wrote my lack of saving money, which is a huge frustration for myself. And so that, between jobs, I'm not like scrounging for money, and things like that. And also, another frustration that I have, and we've talked about this in the Facebook group. If you're not a part of that, definitely, request to join that. But people paying us on time, productions paying on time, that is a big frustration of mine. And I don't have a solution to that, but it is a frustration of mine. That is a very frustrating thing that even after 10 years of doing this, working with the biggest companies and things like that, it doesn't end. That doesn't stop. If you have the ambition of wanting to be in an agency, that's always going to happen. That's why the agent is there, because they're kind of like fending for you. They're wanting to get you paid on time. But sometimes, that turns into 9 months. And I've worked with agencies before, and, there was one job that I did, it took 11 months to get paid. Another job that I did, it was 9 months to get paid. So don't ever think that, if you have these massive, massive clients, and it's celebrity clients or really big brands that you're working with, that just because they're like of this level, that part of the industry goes away, because it just doesn't. So, but writing it out will help you kind of release that stress. And, when we're hyper focusing on like, oh, I'm not getting paid from this person, I wonder why, oh my God, like this person's awful, I can't stand, I never want to, then you're going to start to bring really negative vibes to yourself, and you start to radiate that out, and it just becomes a snowball effect. Like you'll start not getting called, and it's just a really weird thing that happens. The law of attraction is a very complex, very weird thing that 100% I've seen happen a lot. So just release your stresses by writing it out. Write some of your biggest frustrations down. All right, next is there anything that is working well for you right now? So something that I've done in the past is I've kind of figured out patterns that I've done for myself. I'm going to get into this later of, what I've been doing. I forgot to bring it with me. I've always been really big on having a physical schedule, and the more in depth that schedule is, the better. Like I'm super old school. I remember in middle school and in high school, we had these really, really like in-depth type of what are they called? Not schedule books, because we didn't call them schedule books. We called them planners, just like planners or agendas or something like that. So they would have like blocks of time and stuff like that. They would say like, what is due by this time? What are your goals for the week? And so I've always kept something like that with me ever since middle school. So middle school, I don't even know. I was in middle school, I think in like 2001 or something like that. So it was a long time. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've never stopped. And I've realized whenever I'm actually writing in that planner, my goals, my to-do lists, my feelings on certain days, what I've eaten, my exercise habits, whatever it might be, when I'm actually consistent about writing in those, that's when I actually find the things that are working for me. I'm like, okay, well, I made more money during this particular time, and I was happier or feeling better at this time. I was more fit during this time. So picking up your patterns helps. So, so basically this question, is there anything that is working well for you right now? Obviously I've gone back and I've taken note of this, but for you guys now, if you're not that type of person that is like crazy like that, go back and think on for a second, like the past month, the past 2 months, maybe 3 months. What have you been doing that has been working well for you? I do know a lot of people in our Facebook group talk about how they've been networking and it's been working for them very well. I know, so networking might be working well for you, and being consistent about networking. Consistently reaching out to people for, your mentors and things like that. For me, what I've realized does work well for me and has a very good outcome during this period of time of doing these things is meditations. I do yoga, and having consistency in all aspects. So consistency of connecting with people, consistency of posting my work. So, Instagram and Facebook, whether or not you agree with this or not, it's a very, very controversial topic if you ever get on a Facebook forum. Instagram and Facebook, specifically Instagram, is now starting to become kind of like a social media version of your website. So the more consistency that you have of posting your work, of posting, cool things that you've done, posting behind the scenes, people see you working, and people want to hire busy people. I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but just the fact of consistency. So I've been consistently posting on Instagram. I've been consistently posting on Facebook. I've been consistently reaching out to people. And this month has been 100% my busiest month I've ever had. I think probably could say in my entire career, most likely, I think. I'd have to really look back on that. But this month is outrageously busy for me. So all of these are what I feel has worked for me. So write what you feel has worked for you or is working for you. Is taking care of your health really working for you because you're eating the right things and you're, working out. So therefore your confidence and your, you're feeling a lot more confident to approach people, or you're happier, you're more energetic. What is working for you? Write that down. Okay, so next up is, what are some of the things that are not working for you? So just as we are talking about, I just have a question. Belinda says, what advice do you have for networking effectively? It's a good question. I'll answer this before we move on. So hold on, let me drink some water. Thank you, Jenny, on the congratulations. I appreciate that. It's been a very busy month. It's been crazy, but that's okay. So crazy is good. Crazy busy is good. Belinda asks, what advice would I give for networking effectively? So networking, I always talk about this, going to conventions. Conventions are massive right now. And to be honest, we just had E3. E3 is a video game convention. It's massive. It's huge. Now, I don't know, Belinda, exactly where you're from. So if you would like to type in the chat exactly where you're from, I might be able to help you a little bit more effectively. But there's conventions all around the world. Comic-Cons are everywhere nowadays. VidCon is happening, I think, right now. I don't know exactly how much that would, actually VidCon would be, and I'll get to that in a second. So we've got VidCon, Comic-Con, the makeup shows, which are all, I think there's like 6. I'm not entirely sure how many. San Diego. So Belinda, you're from San Diego. Go to Comic-Con. You don't have to have a ticket to actually go to the areas around Comic-Con. It's crazy, as I'm sure you know. That's okay, Belinda. No worries. Yeah, so Comic-Con is huge. If you, most likely, you might have a ticket. I don't know. I'm sure that you're very well aware of how crazy that gets, but there's a lot of makeup artists that go there, a lot of cosplayers that love to hire makeup artists for body painting and just makeup in general. So conventions are really amazing for networking. Bridal conventions, network the crap out of those because especially in San Diego. San Diego is a really big bridal hub. So conventions for bridal things. You could go to conventions for fitness conventions because people, there's startup companies there. There are people that, need makeup artists. All of these conventions, you're going to run into people that need makeup artists. Let's see, what else? I know a lot of photographers like to go to the bridal conventions. So you'd meet photographers there as well, aside from the brides that you'd be, offering services to, if that's something you want to do. IMATS is a great one. A lot of really big professional makeup artists go there. Monsterpalooza. If you like special effects, that's where all the special effects people go. Even like Scare LA, a lot of effects people go there. So just do some pretty good digging on conventions and try to go to as many as you possibly can. Those are really great networking opportunities. You could network with just local events. San Diego has a lot of events. I know they just had something there. I don't remember what it was, but I remember thinking like, oh, I could probably go there and like hand out my card or something. I forget exactly what it was, but you could probably look up different networking events, whether that's in your local paper or there's Facebook groups that have things that are for local events. You could check that out, do some research. It's gonna, there's a lot of options that we have nowadays for networking. Networking through social media, going through forums and stuff like that and finding people that you feel that you're in a line with and reaching out to them and just saying like, hey, like, I really appreciated what you said on this forum, or I really liked your work on this Instagram post, or whatever it is, and just try to network that way. The options are really endless nowadays for networking. You don't have to actually physically go anywhere anymore. You can do everything just, in the comfort of your like bed if you really want to. So those are some options for you guys for networking. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. So yeah, I hope that helps. Alrighty, so what are some things that are not working for you? So the number one thing that for me does not work is procrastination. And I feel like I can speak for a lot of us on this by saying procrastination. We all do it. And I've tried getting to the bottom of this. A lot of you guys that know me and have followed like, these workshops that I've done for the last like year now, probably know my love for like understanding the mindset and kind of like law of attraction stuff along with the psychology of it all. Like I'm a very much super creative, but I like to understand like, okay, but why? Like, why is it like not giving the proof, but kind of like that. But so I've tried to like research exactly what causes procrastination. Like what is it psychologically or like subconsciously that's happening to us? So I've been trying to research into that. If you guys have any, any personal things that you'd like to add to that, feel free to say in the chat box if you've discovered anything. But procrastination is huge. Just I think in America, and well, just not even just America, but just for people all around the world today. We get so distracted. So find the things that aren't working for you and try and put it down on a piece of paper so that you see like in front of you what it is that could be causing you to not get those jobs, possibly not get the money that you want to make. Maybe something that wasn't working for me for a very, very long time is I was never asking for more than what I thought I was worth. I was always like, oh yeah, $100 a day, sure, that's okay. But I knew that I was worth way more than that. Now, this is another thing that's very controversial on social media today. There's a lot to be said about doing work, for the exchange of learning. So, if I know when I was first starting out, I didn't care if I was being paid. Like I just wanted to learn like the on-set etiquette. I wanted to learn how people were doing things. So I didn't care, but some people really, really, really disagree with that. And I respect both aspects. So whatever you feel is that I respect it. But something that I know didn't work for me for a very long time was that I was never actually asking for what I was worth. I do strongly believe that at a certain time period, when you have so much hours under your belt, you have, a decent amount of people that you've worked with, so, X amount of productions you've worked on, that you do deserve to get a certain amount of pay. And it took me a very long time to feel confident in asking, for higher prices. But the moment that I started doing that, I started getting pretty much what I asked for. It's a pretty cool experience. But I feel like for a lot of us makeup artists, especially if you're in that first 5-year mark, we tend to feel confused about what to ask for. We feel fearful that we'll say too high of a price and they just won't respond. There's obviously a lot that goes into that whole, that's a whole topic, a whole workshop I could create out of that. But figure out what's not working for you and kind of write that down. Okay, so on that same note, what are the things that you could possibly improve on? So depending on where you're at in your career, you might be able to, improve on your networking, not abilities, because everybody can network, but maybe you going out of that comfort zone, because networking, you have to go out of your comfort zone on that. And there is a YouTube video that I created about going out of your comfort zone. So Belinda, feel free to, watch that if you feel like networking is kind of like weird and you just don't feel that, confident with networking, because it can be awkward, especially like man, especially talking to like bigger name people, it can be kind of awkward and make you feel like you're bugging people and all that stuff. So go out of your comfort zone. But some things that you can improve on, for me personally, my consistency. I can't emphasize how much consistency it's vital. It's kind of vital in this industry, is consistency. And don't worry about looking like you're being annoying. Like, don't worry about it. Because that's like the worst thing that we can do, is like be so scared to continually ask people, like, do you need help with this? Can I assist you on that? I've had a lot of people reach out to me saying like, oh, I'd love to assist you. And I never hear from them again. But the people that have continually asked like, hey, do you need somebody? Hey, do you need something? Like I end up hiring them. And that happened with me, with a very, very, very dear friend of mine. His name is Carey Ayers. He's a special effects makeup artist, and he's like blown up. So first of all, I met him at IMATS. He was assisting Joel Harlow. And I kind of interacted with Joel Harlow, mentioned like, hey, dude, I'd love to, help you out if you ever need help. And Carey Ayers was right there. And he was like, dude, like, here's my card. If I can help you out, like, I know exactly how you feel right now. Like, please let me help you. So I continually emailed him and emailed him and emailed him. And he ended up getting me a job at Steve Johnson's special effects shop, which was amazing. Like, one of the most incredible experiences that I'd ever experienced. He introduced me to Aaron Kruger McCash, Howard Berger. He introduced me to Carly Herbert. Well, Carly actually I met through Aaron, so not quite. But he introduced me to Mike McCash. He introduced me to a lot of people. So don't ever underestimate being just consistent with reaching out to people, and just in general. Like, I still am like terrified to be consistently reaching out to agencies, because I don't want to come off like I'm annoying, or if you're into the like red carpet event side and you want to work with celebrities, you have to consistently reach out to publicists, find out the publicist. If you want to work with, I don't know, trying to think of like Selena Gomez. I don't know. If you want to work with Selena Gomez, you can find her publicist on online and reach out to her, or like her manager or something, and consistently reach out to them to work with Selena. Just you kind of have to like be that person. Or if you want to work with specific brands, say you want to work with, I don't know, what's a really cool brand? Adidas. If you want to work with Adidas or Nike or something like that, you can go onto LinkedIn and you can search the art director or creative director of whatever brand you want to work with, and consistently reach out to them to connect with them and say like, hey, like, I have this experience and I would really love to work with you if you have any new media things that you're doing. Because every single brand nowadays has like their different tiers of promotions. So you depending on how long you've been doing this and what your background is and your portfolio looks like, you may get those really big national campaigns, but a lot of people can get like, the campaigns that they do for social media. They might want to do a commercial that's like seen on YouTube or Hulu or something like that. I've gotten a lot of those. Those are there's so many of those. They pay a lot less, but it's still very, very, very good money. Okay. You're not getting like $2,000 or $3,000 a day. It's more like a $500 to about an average between like $500 to like $700 range for those like social media things for the bigger brands. If it's a smaller brand, like a startup company, I'd say the average is like $300. So just a little information there. So consistency is everything, you guys. And I've seen it work for, me in so many ways. Alrighty, going down the list, write down some of your biggest goals for 2018. So this is a little early in the workbook to be writing these down, but definitely make sure you take the time right now to go ahead and write these down. You know, if you want to kind of bullet point them for now and come back to it, you can do that. But, you know, what is it that you want to accomplish? We have 6 more months. Isn't that weird? It's already halfway through the year. It's crazy. We have 6 more months to accomplish these things, which, you know, isn't really that much of time. So what do you want to achieve by the end of this year? If you were a part of this workshop earlier in January, you know, see what you wrote and compare. I know I write goals all the time, so I'm comparing every single day, but I know what my goals were at the beginning of the year, and I know where I'm at right now. One of my goals for the year was to make $6,000 a month. And I believe this month and the next month is looking about that. But I've averaged about $4,000 a month, so I didn't quite hit those goals, but it is increasingly going up and up and up and up every single month that I'm consistently working on my goals. So, you know, always seeing your goals in front of you is going to remind your brain what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, and it's going to remind you of what you're not doing in order to get to that. So, let's see. Some of my goals, I'm going to share this with you guys. Some of the goals that I have for the rest of this year. So for the business, like the What It Takes business, I have a goal of reaching 10,000 followers. So just a side note, so in the business, if you ever want to create and I suggest this, I actually need to do this with my personal one. If you have an Instagram where you're posting your work, and make it the majority of your work if you're going to do this. You can switch your account to business account. Now, when you hit 10,000 followers, you actually there's like a lot of bonus things that they get. So specifically for What It Takes, like there's little links and stuff like that you can create. I think the Insta stories have more options, things like that. So that's just the goal so that I can unlock. That's kind of like a video game. It's like I want to unlock these things, so I have to hit 10,000. So that's a goal for the company. I do have a goal of writing a book that I want to get out by the end of this year. And like I said, making $6,000 a month, and then getting in with an agency. I'm already on the assistance roster for 2. One in which I've been on theirs for ever since 2012, and I've gotten work from them. They're really, really great. But 2 in which I'm consistently, working with to potentially be on the full roster, like their actual roster. So those are my goals for the next 6 months. Okay. Those are just like pretty straightforward goals too. So your goals might look similar enough, like, if you want to set a certain amount of money that you want to make. If you yourself want to hit a certain amount of followers on Instagram, that could be a goal. A really, really good goal that I suggest to you guys that I did for myself at, anytime that I'm starting to kind of dip down with jobs is to reach out to 5 people every single day for however long it takes until you start getting a lot of work from that. And usually it doesn't take very long. It's maybe like 3 days in a row, and then you just start getting like, oh yeah, we need you for this, or oh yeah, we have something coming up. It works every time. So constantly reaching out to people, and 5 people a day is really not as much. It's not that much. It sounds more than what it is, if that makes sense. It's really not that much. All right, so next page to page 4. What are some ways you could achieve these goals? So, okay, for me, like getting into an agency, for example, I could be much better about contacting agents and staying in contact. For 2 years, I was actually too intimidated to reach out to the agency that I was on the assistance roster for. And that actually completely brought me backwards. Like I took steps backwards rather than forwards with them. And luckily they remembered who I am, and they told me when I reached back out to them like a couple months ago, they were like, we really love your work, and we're, basically just gonna wait to have an opening for you to have an interview, but right now we have a full roster. So had I actually been consistently, emailing them and telling them like, hey, I worked on this, check it out, I probably would be on that list by now, which kills me, but don't dwell on the past too much. So connecting with agents, that's something I could be doing consistently, like, probably once every 2 weeks, if not every week. They have a lot going on in those agencies, and you want to stay in their minds. So something else that I've been doing to get to my monthly income goal is reaching out to people that, reaching out to more people as often as possible to see if they need my services. And also I signed up, this is more of a testing thing because I really am like interested to see what it's all about. A friend of mine suggested doing the apps like Glam app and things like that. And I've always kind of been like, not really for them, but here's the thing. This is kind of what I believe about these apps. One, you have to kind of look into them, see if they're legit, see if they, pay well. A lot of them don't pay well, but this is the catch. This is my opinion on this. And here's the thing. I see both sides of it. So there's a lot of people that are very against this, and there's a lot of people that are just for this. I see both sides. So whatever you feel is, totally, I probably agree with both sides, what you were, whatever your decision is about it. Personally, I think that if you're in a point of your career where, especially at the beginning, if I were at the beginning of my career, I would be like, I don't even care what anybody thinks. I just need work. I need experience. So if we put it out there as like, a lot of people suggest go to a counter and get experience that way. It's essentially the same thing, only you're just kind of going on a more personal, I'm going to do your makeup at home type of thing, which actually is what happens when we do celebrity events. Anyways, we're going to their home, we're going to the hotel that they're getting ready at, whatever. So I signed up for one of those apps. It's called Priv, and I haven't started working, so don't really have any much to say, but I do know that they have a higher payment, and they also pay 80% instead of like 40% that a lot of the other ones do. So it's a high percentage commission. And I'm going to use that when I have downtime, because like what I really want to do is get to that income goal. So trying to do whatever I can to hit that income goal. And also they have like a men's grooming portion, and I really, really need to practice my men's grooming. So I was like, oh, perfect. I'm practicing my men's grooming. So I did sign up for that. I'll probably write about it later when I actually start experiencing it. It may be a good experience, maybe a bad experience, who knows? But I'm trying it out, see what it's like. I was totally against it at first, but I was like, hey, you know what? Experience is experience. Now, for Priv, like specifically, you do have to be either certified or you have to have a license. So they are a little bit more strict. And then the other thing that I have for reaching my goals is consistent posting for the Instagram goal that I have. So write down some things that you can do for your goals. So if your goals are networking, one of the ways that you can achieve those goals is research, where are these networking events happening? Even like your Chamber of Commerce, as weird and dorky as that sounds, no offense to anybody that's a part of a Chamber of Commerce. I just feel like a lot of people think like super businessy, like people go to this. You should go to it. Because you'll meet with business owners, and business owners are always looking for people. Sometimes they have corporate parties. Sometimes they have photo shoots or video shoots that they need for their own companies. There's a lot of really cool things that you can get out of networking from Chamber of Commerce events. So look into that. Yeah, I don't know what other type of goals that you guys have personally. Feel free, you guys, if you have any questions about certain goals or anything like that. I know Belinda asked a question. Thank you for asking that question. Please feel free to type in the chat box. So the next question is, do you feel any type of resistance to these goals? And if so, why? This is a question that through a lot of self-reflection, I came to finding the answer to. So by no means do you have to answer the question of if so, why. Sometimes it takes time for you to really get to the core of why you're feeling this resistance. It took me a very, 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 like years, you guys, long time to figure out why I have blocks, why I have resistance to certain things. And I'm still working on it. We all, you know, as adults have this like journey of self-reflection, and sometimes it takes a very long time to figure out why we have certain ways of reacting or resistance to goals or things like that. So for me, there's a lot of fear of success. That's my water pipes, just so you guys know. There's a lot of fear of success. And I feel like artists in general, whether you're a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a painter, anything that's a creative, freelance-based industry that you can make money off of, especially artists where, like, you know, they're selling their paintings and drawings. We all have a fear of success. And I feel like it stems from, if we're looking on a broad picture, it seems like it stems from the society that says you, like, kind of like how women were suppressed for so long, which still are in a way, where, you know, you can't do that because you're a woman. I feel like that actually happens with the artistic community. Like, well, you're an artist, so what do you expect? You're not going to make money. Or that whole, you know, saying that goes like the struggling artist, or, you know, it becomes this thing like we all expect to struggle, therefore we struggle. So I feel like over the past few years that I've really dug deep into this particular question, I feel like fear of money and fear of success go hand in hand with artists. So if you feel like that, I highly suggest meditation. It helps a lot to really dig deep into what that might be. Like, why is that? What could be causing that? So I just wrote for me that there's for sure a fear of resistance in the way for me. There's a resistance fear. I wrote this wrong. A fear of success being the resistance for me. And I've tried to get to the bottom of this. There's a lot of layers to that. We're all like onions, and we just, you know, peel one layer at a time. Personally, like I said, meditation has helped significantly, so I suggest that for you guys. And yoga. Yoga really, really helps. I personally love Yin Yoga. I like the experience. It's a little bit more of it's almost like meditative. It's very meditative yoga. So I kind of like that. I kind of like combining, because I feel like I'm hitting two birds with one stone. So I'm doing yoga, but I'm also meditating at the same time. So I don't have to do them separately. But just so you guys know, I do want to share something with you guys. For 60 days straight, from like the end of September to the beginning of December. So it's more than, I don't know. It was 60 days straight. That's all I know. I did a meditation, a specific meditation every single night, and yoga every single night. And this is a complete side story that doesn't really, I mean, it has to do with this, but I'm just sharing this as a side note. We all have, you know, back issues, whether that's like in the top area of our shoulders, especially if we're hairstylists and we're constantly like, gosh, I can't. When I worked in a salon, that was just like every single night I had knots all up my neck. And then it goes down to, like, you know, the sides of your, like your mid back, and then the lower back. Now I feel like a lot of makeup artists, hairstylists too, but makeup artists that have their set back and they're kind of like, you know, leaning to one side with their makeup bag, and it just really messes up our spine. So going back to what I did for those 60 days, I completely realigned my spine. And I mean, you guys, I was working on American Horror Story last summer, and I will never, ever, ever, ever forget this experience, because it terrified me. I was terrified it was a 20-hour day, maybe 21-hour day. And my back, I just have really bad back problems, a really low back pain, and it's always bugged me. And I just never really thought of it as anything. I just thought like, oh, well, yeah, I've been standing, so that's the reason why my back hurts. Well, it's not normal. Just so you guys know, back pain is not normal. Unless like, yeah, okay, so if you're standing for 20 hours a day, like of course your feet are gonna hurt, whatever, but there's a way to avoid that. This is like on another level though. So this particular day on set, running back and forth from different set to different stage, all this stuff. And I sneezed. I just sneezed, and this shot of pain went all the way up my neck. It was like an electric shock. It was the scariest moment of my life. I thought that I was gonna have to go to the ER, go to the hospital, and not be able to be on set and have to tell my department head, Carey Herta, like, hey, I can't be here tomorrow because I just broke my back and I'm gonna be paralyzed. Like, I'm that person that goes to like the worst possible case scenario ever. But anyways, long story short, it was kind of a turning point of my career where I was like, why aren't people talking about this? This is a very, very, very common thing that we all suffer from, lower back pain or just any type of pain in our backs. So I urge you guys, try doing yoga for just 10 minutes a day. It's not like you have to do this crazy amount of yoga. I know we're all so busy. I know that for sure. And it can really, you know, I haven't been good about doing it every single day either, but I can assure you it helped me significantly in my life and my career. You know, after those 60 days, I did not have back pain when I was on set. And I was like floored. I was like, why is my back not hurting? I was kind of like that's such a silly thing to say. Like, why is my back not hurting? Because you expect it to happen. You guys, it's very, very, very important for us to take care of our backs. And that's something that later along the lines, I'm going to really get into. You guys will start seeing me do a lot of YouTube videos on how to, you know, do certain poses. There'll be, you know, series and stuff like that on specifically yoga for makeup artists. I'm really excited about that. But please, please, please take care of your backs. Because you guys, our backs have to be healthy for us to actually do what we do. You know, obviously like our arms and our hands and our feet too, but our backs are you know, that's what is gonna, you know, we need those, okay? And we need them to be healthy. All right, so moving on. Does anybody, let's see, have any questions? I'm gonna take a sip of water. Does anybody else have back pain? Jenny, I'm sure. I know that you do hair, I believe, right? As well as makeup. Do you have back pain? I know like when I was working in a salon, I had back pain, and really bad back pain. And my feet, I actually have, I've developed plantar fasciitis now. It's not fun, but you can correct it, you guys, just so you know. All right, so next page is page 5, overcoming resistance. So obviously I have a very strong belief that we all have some sort of resistance to, you know, money. We have resistance to success, things like that. So I wanted to take the moment to talk about overcoming resistance. Cool tip, thanks, says Jenny. You're welcome, Jenny. Yeah, see, we all have back pain. It's a real problem, you guys. It's real. Not anymore. I started doing yoga a year ago. Thank you, Jenny. Right? Is it Jenny? Okay, yeah. So Jenny is 9998, I believe. See, yoga, you guys, really helps. I remember, you guys, my mom is like super spiritual, super yoga lover. You know, she loves law of attraction. She loves all these things, which is why, like, kind of how I got into it, you know, thanks to my mom. But she has always, I mean, you guys, like I said, I've always had back problems. I was on the drum line in my marching band. I played drums for 12 years. And specifically for the 4 years of my high school, I was on the drum line, and it was this probably a good 20-pound drum. It's a snare drum that was on a harness. And so my back got really, really messed up from that. So I've always had back problems, but it's progressed, you know, pretty badly pretty much every single year. So that's been like, what, 11 years ago now? 10 years ago now? What was I saying? Oh, yes, yoga. So my mom always was like, Amber, you need to get into yoga. And I just thought it was like yoga was the weirdest thing. I don't know why I thought yoga was weird. I have no idea why. Because I totally was fine with like the idea of meditation and the idea of law of attraction and the idea of mindset and kind of that whole thing. But yoga just seems so like, oh, okay, like let's just, okay, like, I don't know. I just felt really weird about it, but I started doing it and I am like, I'm in yoga teacher training right now, you guys. We finish next week. So that's what yoga did for me. Changed my life. Pilates used to help me, but unfortunately I like running and that takes a toll on your back and knees. It totally does. There is, just so you know, 4342. That's the number of the person that just put this in the chat. If you look up Cassandra, Yoga with Cassandra with a K, Kassandra. She has a Yin Yoga for runners. You should look into that. Yin is very, very, very good for runners. And like I said, I'm going to go on a tangent just for a second because with yoga, there's like a yin yoga and a yang yoga. This is really hard to say. A yin yoga, and then there's a yang yoga. So like if you think yin and yang, like the Chinese medicine theories and things like that, and their philosophies, they have yin yoga. So they always suggest if you're the type of person that likes cardio exercise to then do a yin style yoga. So it's my suggestion to you personally. I was just learning about that in my yoga class. Okay, so overcoming resistance, page 5. So this is, I'm going to talk about the 3 C's that my girl Carey Green, I'm a huge fan of Carey Green. She is, you're welcome. She is a business, like a female entrepreneur, public figure, I'd say. So she works with Hay House. She has her own online membership program. She has a lot of really great stuff. Now it's specifically more for like business owners and like small like entrepreneurs. But I mean, we're all entrepreneurs at the end of the day. But I do feel like it is more of like where you're selling things. But she has some really, 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 really good insights with what she has to offer. So I'm actually taking this from her book, She Means Business. So the 3 C's are, 1 is lack of clarity for overcoming resistance, lack of confidence, and lack of competence. So these 3 C's, when you lack them, is what causes resistance. So first, clarity. So the lack of clarity is if you don't know what you want, how can you make it happen? So you have to overcome the clarity that you have. And I feel like with our, there's so many things that we can do nowadays as artists. We can be an effects artist. We can be a men's groomer. We can be a fashion artist, makeup artist. We can be an events makeup artist. There's a lot of different paths that we can all take, right? So it causes, and I can totally, I'm in this group, if you're in this group as well, where you're just like, what direction am I supposed to go? Because there's so many directions. And some people in our industry, like Crystal Wright will tell you this, if you guys know who Crystal Wright is, she will tell you, never be a jack of all trades, because you look like you don't actually have something that you specialize in. But somebody like Erin Kruger McCash, who is the department head of makeup for American Horror Story, she would tell you, do everything. Same thing with V. Neal. V. Neal will tell you, never say no to a job. I kind of reside in the center between those two. I'm not completely like do everything, and I'm not completely like don't, only specialize in one thing. I see both sides. So for me, I feel like, never, I personally, I say to people, don't ever say yes to a job that you know you can't do. That's like the number one thing I feel like people, you know, they watch interviews with someone like V or someone like Aaron and they're like, oh, I'm never saying no to a job because this is what they told me to do. But here's the thing, you know, if there was a job I just got asked for to do last month, it was an outrageous job. And there was like an alien involved or something where I would have had to sculpt, mold, do all these things to make an alien. I don't do that. And if I would have said yes to that, it would have looked very poorly, like on behalf of me, like on my own behalf. Like I wouldn't have been able to actually do what they asked me to do. And, you know, you want to make sure that whatever you're saying yes to, you can do it. Or that you do feel confident that you can figure it out. There was something I did it was like a charity event. So it was like an unpaid gig, but it was for the makeup artist who is now a very good friend of mine, Christina Tracy. She is the makeup supervisor for a lot of very big theatrical shows. So Wicked, The Lion King, Jersey Boys. She does a lot of, she just did that one that was in LA just like last fall, I believe. It was Mamma Mia. It may have just been earlier this year. She does a lot of, you know, Phantom of the Opera stuff. She does a lot. So she actually reached out to me to do wig work for a charity event that was a show for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I had to do these crazy wigs. I don't do wigs. I mean, I do hair. I'm sort of, you know, I have my license and everything, but I don't really work on wigs. And I remember thinking to myself, well, why the hell did I take this job? But I did it. You know, I was capable. It wasn't like something I wasn't completely learning, like everything was new. Like I knew how to do it. It was just a very new territory for me. And I did it and it ended up like I work with her and she and I are very good friends now. So, you know, if you feel like you can do it and you actually do feel like, okay, no, I can do that. I can figure it out, then do it. But if you're like, I've never sculpted in my life, but I think I can do it. I don't know. I'm not really, I would never do it anyways, but you guys can do whatever you want at the end of the day, you know? It's all a matter of like your own personal take on it, right? Okay, so clarity is what I'm getting at. You want to make sure that you know what you're going for. That's why we're having goal setting. That's why we're talking about goals right now. We have to have a clear vision of what we want to achieve, where we want to go in our careers. Like I said, it can be very confusing at the beginning of your career. But the thing is, just figure it out and then write as often as you possibly can, you know, your experiences from that. And you'll figure it out along the way. When you get more into like the 5, 10, 15 years even, that clarity is going to come to you. And when you are clear with your vision, that's when you start making more money. That's when it just all falls into place. So try to get as much clarity as you possibly can. Sometimes meditation helps with that too. So, okay. So number 2, lack of confidence. So overcoming resistance, you have to be confident, right? So when you lack confidence, you start to hold back from achieving what you actually want to achieve. And I've been saying this whole time, meditation will really help with your confidence. There's guided meditations that I'll go through later on that I suggest in this workbook that have helped me with my confidence. Practicing is a huge thing. You know, you want to make sure that you're practicing. If there's anything that you are unsure of, like right now, like say for instance, you need to work on your cat eye or something like that, or you need to work on application of lipstick, or you need to work on making sure your edges are, you know, nice and that they look nice and blended for special effects. Practice, you know, and you know, there's some inexpensive ways that you can do all 3 of those things. So definitely look into practicing. And actually, Joel Harlow said something, I think I've told this story a few times. He said in an interview for Makeup Artist Magazine that whenever somebody shows him their work and it's all just studio stuff or stuff that they did in school, that he's like, okay, like, yeah, you know, you do good work and I see that. But if somebody, like the second person behind that person, goes up to him, gives him their, you know, shows him their portfolio, and it's both studio on set and work that they've done like at home and stuff, he sees that they're practicing, and he would rather hire somebody that he knows is practicing when he's not just working. So I thought that was a really cool thing that he mentioned in that interview. So keep that in mind. If you guys don't know who Joel Harlow is, he does, he's Johnny Depp's personal makeup artist. He is, you know, he's been nominated for Oscars. He is a very, very, very big makeup artist in the effects world. So check him out if you guys don't know him. The third C of overcoming resistance is lack of competence. So if you don't know how to do something, just figure it out. That's basically what this C is all about, is being competent of doing things. Just, you know, if you don't know how to network, figure out how to network. If you don't know how to make a certain amount of money, you know, figure out how you could possibly make some money. A way to do that is ask the people that you feel are making the amount of money that you want to make. You know, finding out how different people do different cat eyes, things like that, figuring it out and being competent in doing so. Because if you lack competence, it just causes for procrastination, and it becomes a whole fear-based thing. Like, okay, so if you're not good at doing cat eyes and you're not figuring out how to do a good cat eye, you're going to start procrastinating because you're not confident in it. It all is a whole domino effect, okay? All right, so moving on to page 6. All right, so we're a little over an hour. I had a feeling this is going to go a little bit longer because I have a lot of stories, like sub-stories to tell you guys. And all of you guys that have come back know that I go on tangents, so I don't know. I can't really help it. It just happens. Things just come to me. Alrighty, so page 6 in your guys' workbook is all about dreaming big. So the next few pages, actually the next 2 pages specifically, is all about dreaming big. So these next questions are not just about your dream of being a big makeup artist. There's so many more aspects to this particular thing that we need to go over, because, you know, we need to be as specific as possible. The more specific we are about our goals in all aspects of our life, the more we train our subconscious to knowing what to do to get to that and why we want it to be that way. So if you want to make a certain amount of money, well, why do you want to make that money? Okay, well, I want to make it for A, B, and C reasons. Okay, well, that's great. So in order to have the A, B, and C, I have to do this, and these are the goals to get there. So, and just so you guys know, everything that I've experienced anyways, and I know a lot of very, very highly, highly successful people do, are understanding that goal setting and actually achieving these goals, you have to put a feeling towards it. You know, you want to make sure that you're connecting the two, because if you don't have a feeling towards it and it's a negative feeling, like say for instance you're somebody like me who is from Indiana and wants to do really, really big things, but has a parent or a sibling or a friend constantly chirping in your ear that, you know, LA is too expensive, you will never make it. That's a feeling that you connect with actually moving there. So that feeling is always going to stay in your subconscious. So you're always going to suppress and like deter yourself from actually doing that. And you won't actually move, which is what happened to me for like 4 or 5 years. So first question is, actually the little sub thing. When was the last time that you stretched your imagination? Have you, so when was that? Like, I mean, do you really stretch your imagination? Like, when was the last time you really did that? Was it yesterday? Was it a year ago? Was it 6 months ago? What was it? Have fun and dream big. Below are the questions to get you into the flow of dreaming big. So your first question is, how do you want to feel with your goals? So the goals that we had talked about that you want to achieve for the end of this year, or by the end of this year. How do you want to feel? You know, what are you going to feel if and when you achieve those goals? For me, the feelings are financially abundant. I'm going to feel supported and I'm going to feel inspired. So when you actually take that in and you actually feel those feelings, you're training your brain to feel what it's going to feel like when you achieve those. So subconsciously, those are really, really good feelings. And we always strive to go after good feelings. It's just a natural human thing that we do. We love to feel good. We love to have, we love being, you know, if we accomplish something, we love that feeling of accomplishment. We love the feeling of being loved. We love the feeling of being inspired. We love the feeling of hitting goals. It's a whole like dopamine effect, right? So you have to train your mind to feel and consciously visualize yourself feeling the feelings of when you're going to achieve these things. You have to. Because if you don't, then you're not going to, your body isn't going to know how to like react when you actually achieve those things. And then it's not a rewarding thing. And it's a whole continual thing of, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but feel it. So how do you guys want to feel? Write that down. And the next question is, what does your dream day look like? So according to that goal that you have, you know, if say, for instance, your one of the goals that you have written is that you want to work with Brad Pitt. What does say Brad Pitt? What does your dream day look like? What are you working with him on? What are you doing? How does he treat you? What are the conversations you have? What does your dream day look like? When you get really, really visually specific about this, it's very, very, very effective. And I have so many stories of this actually coming to fruition for me. Like you guys, I don't even know how many stories I have. There's too many. So feel it and be specific about how you're going to feel when you, or and be specific about how the day looks, what it looks like, and everything like that. Our brains are very, very, very driven by feelings and visions. So don't overlook this step. So for me, what does my dream day look like? Mine's pretty generic. So I just didn't, I could go in very, very great detail with mine, but I didn't. Mine is working with people that I love. So I have a very, very strong, very great client base, and I love every single one of them. And I am incredibly grateful that I can say that now. It did take a while to get there, but I'm there. So working with the people I love, that's something that I want to do every single day that I'm working on a set, is working with people that I love and being happy and coming to set and if there is stress, it's an understood stress. It's not everybody's bickering back and forth. It's a very calm environment. Also, using products that I love. That is something that I really take value in, is working with the products that I love. Because if I'm using a product that I'm not like so, happy with, and that actually like that certain vibe will be seen by the person that I'm working on. And I've seen it happen, and I catch on pretty quick when it's happening, and I have to kind of like, oh yeah, this is new. I'm just kind of like testing it out. So using products that I love is something that I see in my dream day. So another thing is meeting people that I adore and look up to, and also feeling relaxed. I've had a lot of so many experiences on set that have really, really bummed me out, you guys. Like people that are just mean, time crunches that are absolutely outrageous, all of the things I've experienced. And my dream day is to work with the people I love in a relaxed environment. And if and when when it's stressed, it's okay. It's not like everybody's having a conniption on set. Like, ugh, I hate those experiences. Because at the end of the day, just making a movie, right? Or a shoot or something like that. Say hi to Kitty, everybody. Ah, Kitty, you're right on my papers. Here, there you go. Sit right there. That's perfect. All right, so write in what your dream day looks like. And the more specific that you get, the better. I've done this exercise before in the past, and it's pretty incredible what happens. I go back, in my journal entries, and I've read them, and it's pretty crazy. Like, before Kenneth and I started dating, for those that for those of you who don't know who Kenneth is, he's my boyfriend. He also is a makeup artist, and he's the producer of our film, What It Takes. And I remember when I was writing about my dream day and having him be a part of it, and he and I weren't even dating at the time. And now we're dating, we live together, we have a really, beautiful apartment. And there's like little, really small details that I wrote that are now real. So don't overlook that, okay? All right, so next question, is there an artist's life who inspires you? What are their elements of life, if any, that inspire you? Or I'm sorry, what elements of their life, if any, inspire you? For me, Carey Herta is the person that I put down. I really, really, really look up to Carey Herta. She is the makeup department head for pretty much almost everything that FX Network does for their ad campaigns. So for American Horror Story, I've been on her team for the last 3 years. So I've worked with her on other things. I did a thing with Sony, and I did a ad campaign for baskets, and she and I do a lot together between both of our businesses. So we've become very close, and I really, really look up to her. I love her, lifestyle. I really do like kind of what she does. She's in the union, and she does agency work. She works with both celebrity, and she does, ad campaigns, and some, she works on commercials. So that is kind of like, she is the person that I look up to a lot. Obviously, I look up to a lot of makeup artists, other makeup artists too. But lifestyle-wise, kind of career-wise, career path-wise, Carey Herta, 100%. And she has like a business on the side and everything. So it's just like, I love her. Okay, so write in there who you look up to, and maybe some of the elements that that you feel inspired by. If it's someone like Howard Berger or something. Howard Berger, has a partnership with one of the biggest special effects shops in pretty much the entire world, I want to say, at least America. With Greg Nicotero. He also is a personal makeup artist to Mark Wahlberg. He, department heads some of the biggest shows that are on TV right now. So maybe that's somebody that you strive to be like, is someone like Howard Berger. Do you strive to be like, let's see, like Pat McGrath? Do you want to be into the fashion world and maybe have your own makeup line or something like that? I have a question that just came in. Can you talk more about the union you mentioned? From Belinda. Yes, so in Los Angeles, we have a union. There's unions, they're all different between different cities, different regions, different countries. So I can only speak about the union in LA. And to be honest, I can't really say much because they're very, very, very finicky about rules being publicly announced. So like I was going to try to interview Randy, who is like one of the main guys at the union for the LA makeup union. And he was like, I can't do an interview. Like I can't do anything publicly. I can't even give you a printout to hand out to people. But like, so it's very, because it changes so often and they can't be held accountable if, something happens with the changes. But basically a union, what the union does is it protects people. Kitty, no, sorry you guys, if my computer goes off, it's because of Kitty. Anyways, the union protects you. It's just a labor law type of thing. So they protect you from getting the proper wages. They protect you from not going over the 6-hour mark for your lunch periods. You have to, at least in Los Angeles and in California state law, you have to have a meal at the 6-hour period. If you don't, the production has to pay you a meal penalty per minute or per 15 minutes. I'm not quite sure of the time that you go over that 6-hour mark. If you go over 8 hours, there is, you get, you have to be paid overtime. If you go over 10 hours, it's, I believe, double time. If you, and then also if you have a, like for instance, I did a shoot where we had a 20-hour day and we only had like a 4 or 5 hour turnaround. So that next day, everybody was getting paid double time because you have to have, I believe it's an 8-hour turnaround by law in California. This is only California, you guys. So take this with a grain of salt if you're not in Los Angeles, like California, for the union in Los Angeles. So if you go over that, if the turnaround from a particular day to the next day on a production for film or like film or theater, everybody has to get paid double time within. It has to be an 8-hour turnaround at least. Sometimes it's a 12-hour turnaround, I think. Like I said, this is like completely. Sometimes this changes. So, and it's all different between different unions in different states and regions. But anyways, the union is what allows you to be on the really big shoots. So for instance, Guardians of the Galaxy, American Horror Story, 13 Reasons Why, all of these are union shows. So I'm not a union artist, so I can't work on these shows. Same thing with union commercials and union new media and union theatrical shows. So I could never work technically on Wicked with my friend Christina because it's a union theatrical show. Yeah, and then you get benefits like health benefits. So that's like, the gist of it. It's very confusing. There's a lot of information, but that's like as much as I can give without like giving wrong information. So if I were to research one at San Diego, I would search a San Diego Makeup Union, for example. Yeah, that's what you would do. I'm pretty sure that they have a union. Yeah, so San Diego Makeup Union. So that's what I would do. All right, and actually, there's a girl, if I were you, I would contact a gal named Kathy Singh. C-A-T-H-I. That's how you spell her first name. Singh. S-I-N-G-H. Contact her on Instagram. And just because she does a lot of work in San Diego. I think she lives there. Ask her because she'll know that answer. She'll 100% know that answer for you, specifically for San Diego Union. All right. So next question: are there any people or idols? Oh wait, sorry. Yeah. Are there any people or idols you would like to meet or connect with? So definitely write this down, so that you can always have in mind the people that you want to meet. I've been very fortunate to meet a lot of my idols, but the people that I have yet to meet that I am like dying to meet would be Pat McGrath and Ray Morris. Those are two really, and Lisa Eldridge. Love her. So I've met a lot of the special effects people that I have been like dying to meet. So I'm incredibly grateful for that. So my list is more on the fashion side now that I haven't been able to meet. Cool. So the next page 7. Let's see. Page 7. So explain your dream home. So the reason why I'm having you guys talk about your dream homes is because, like I said, this goal setting workshop is not just about our goals. I mean, the majority of it is about, what we want to achieve as a makeup artist, but it doesn't stop at that. We have to think beyond. And this is when we actually start seeing massive changes in our lives and our paths in our career, when we don't just think about just the job. So explaining our dream home, what this is going to do is it's starting to bring in different areas of our lives So for me, wanting to have $6,000 a month, to make $6,000 a month, I have to write out what my life would look like. What would I be spending my money on? Why do I want to make that much money? You know, I'll be changing it to $10,000 a month at one point, maybe 15, and it'll just keep growing and growing, maybe like $20,000 a month. I know plenty of makeup artists that make $20,000 a month. And even like, there are some people that make like $60,000, $50,000 a month. So when we get to that point, you know, you have to kind of analyze, like, why do you want to make that money? Is there a certain type of home that you want? Is there a certain type of lifestyle that you want? You have to justify to yourself. This sounds weird, but you have to justify why you want these goals. Kitty just wants to lay on the keyboard. You have to justify this. So explain your dream home. What type of home do you want to have? Where do you want to live? For me, I just put a 2 to 3 bedroom house, very spacious, in a friendly neighborhood. You know, right now I live in an apartment. My goal for like next year, these goals, just so you guys know, it's not for like the rest of this year. These are just like something to think about so that it gets your mind, you know, rolling on why you want these particular goals for yourself for the rest of this year. So my goal for next year, when our lease is up here, is to have a 2-bedroom apartment. So what do I need to do in order to get a 2-bedroom apartment where I don't have to have a second roommate? Kenneth and I live together in a 1-bedroom apartment, but I want a second room that I can have just so that I can do personal projects of photo shoots, video shoots, a whole office space. He wants his own art space. So what do we have to do to get there? That $6,000 a month, how much money do I have to put away in order to be able to pay for a 2-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles? I hope this is making sense, you guys. Okay. Next question. Are there any places that you dream of visiting? So, you know, this could be in conjunction with the amount of money that you're going to make. Are you wanting to make a certain amount of money because you want to travel? Are you wanting to get on certain projects that actually take you to these places? Or do you not even really care about traveling? For me, I put Italy, Greece, Fiji, and Virgin Islands. One of my goals that I have by the end of this year is to save enough money that Kenneth and I can go on a proper vacation. He and I haven't actually taken like a real vacation together since him and I have been together for the 2.5 years we've been together. So that is a goal that he and I have to save for. So, and next question is, how do you want your life to be? Like, what do you see yourself doing? For me, I do want to do lots of traveling. I am very, very, very family oriented. I'm originally from Indiana, and pretty much all my family is there. So I really have it in my, goal is to visit family often. So I always save as much money as I possibly can back to pay for traveling to visit my family. I usually visit Indiana probably 3 to 4 times a year on average. Another thing is being busy with bouts of time off. This was something that I kind of mentioned it earlier, knowing, like experiencing, the, what am I trying to say? So, okay, with feature films, if, I know Belinda was asking about union work. So when I first started out, when I first moved here in Los Angeles from Indiana, I started getting back-to-back feature films. And that wasn't my original plan. My original plan was to actually be a men's groomer and get agency represented and work more on like red carpets, work more on like being a personal makeup artist for whoever I'd be working with. So that was actually my main goal. But then I started really enjoying the continuity aspect and being a department head of feature films. Now, this was when I started really experiencing how bad my back pain was. And I realized like this might not be the right path for me. And something that I've realized is I enjoy having bouts of time off. So what I do right now, I do a lot of ad campaigns and I do a lot of commercials. I do short films and like web series stuff. So I work a lot with Crypt TV. So I get to do like the whole department head thing, and the aspect of creating looks, having character breakdowns, having scripts where everything has to, you know, make sense. But the feature film stuff, I don't do as much of anymore. And that was kind of more of a personal choice because I started feeling like my body just wasn't working well with that type of work. And also, I kind of started feeling like I didn't have a life. And I really enjoy having personal time. I really enjoy having family time. So that was something that I started getting clarity on, which is what I was talking about earlier, is having clarity. It's a big, big, big thing for you guys. It takes time. And don't be hard on yourself if you're in that process right now of trying to figure that out. So what I found out, how I want my life to be, kind of looking up to Carey Herta, is that I really do enjoy being a part of bigger projects that have higher rates, so that I have, you know, 3-4 day, you know, spans of time that I can actually like get personal work done, especially with what I'm doing with this particular brand, with what it takes. I kind of have to have that. I have 3 feature films like lined up for from now until probably next year. So I'm still doing feature films. It's not that I don't do them. I'm just not back to back to back to back with them, which is what I was doing early on. So that is something that I started getting really clear on, is that I love feature films, but I don't particularly want that for the only thing that I do. And also, I really want to inspire artists, and I just put travel again. I think that was a mess up. So that's how I want my life to be. So do you guys have any goals for how do you want your life to be as a makeup artist? Do you want to constantly be busy? Do you want to always be working on feature films? Do you want, I don't know, how do you want your life to be as a makeup artist? Or just in general, how do you want your life to be? Do you want to have a family? Do you want to learn, live somewhere specific? Do you want to have the luxury of being able to do this or do that, whether that's traveling or being able to provide for your family and do X, Y, and Z for your children? What are those specific things? Okay. So next question is, how much do you want to make and by when? So this is if you guys have ever gotten into any of the law of attraction books or videos, or, The Secret, they always talk about this. Wanting to make a certain amount of money can only be effective if you have some sort of goal of a date. Because if you say for instance, you do, you want to be a millionaire, you want to make $1 million. Technically, after a certain amount of years, that your yearly income added up every single year together could accumulate to $1 million. So you have to give your brain, your subconscious, and your mind a set date, so that okay, so if I want to make $1 million by a year from now, there's a lot of things you got to do. So you need to figure out what you're going to do, what you want, how you're going to achieve that. And just so you guys know, if anybody is in this session right now that does want to be a millionaire, it's 100% feasible. You can do that. And I am not judging anybody that wants to make $1 million as a makeup artist, because it can be done. And I don't think that, anybody should be to look down on because they want to make $1 million or something. However, you do have to realize that $1 million is a lot of money, so you have to make big steps with something like that. Like I've actually kind of put down, like I think I made a goal for myself for like $500,000 or something like that, and I figured out what I would have to do to get there, and it's just like, wow, it's a lot of money. So just keep that in mind. There's a reason why only 1% of people are like millionaires or something. I forget the statistic. But anyways, so for me, what I did is I put how much money do you want to make and by when? I put 50,000 by December 2018. I could get even more specific. I could say like I want to make $50,000 in the next 6 months. And I could say that. But I just put this for like what I want to make for this year. Or 60,000. We'll say $60,000 by December 2018. So get really clear on that, the time and the date, because you have to give yourself a time frame. You have to give yourself, it's kind of like when something is due at school when you were, growing up. If you were never given a date, like say for instance, you had a science project that was due. If they never gave you a due date, you would probably never turn it in. Unless you love science, and you would turn it in as fast as you possibly can. But the majority of us probably wouldn't turn it in. At least I wouldn't. So just think of it that way. When we have due dates, we actually start to like subconsciously figure out what we need to do in order to do that. Sometimes it comes from panic. It comes from fear. It comes from whatever. When you set yourself a date and a time, that's when a lot of really great things happen. And like I said many times, that's this past couple of years that I've done like self reflection and things like that. It really, really helps when you set dates for yourself. Okay, really quick, I need to step away because my computer's about to die. It was fully plugged in before, fully. The battery is full before, so that's really odd. I'm gonna go plug it in really quick. So what I want you guys to do while I just step in the other room, if you are comfortable with this, type in the chat box how you want your life to be, like what you wrote down or maybe what you vision yourself to be. So feel free to write that in the chat box. I'll be right back. All right, saved. All good now. Anybody want to share anything in the chat? I know sometimes we can be a little shy about personal goals, so I understand. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next page, page 8. I wanted to share with you the mindset resource list. So these are the mindset books that I read and also meditations. I've been talking a lot about meditations through this whole time. So I wanted to make sure that I give you specifically the types of things that I've utilized and have really, really helped me and I've seen amazing results from. Jenny says, I wrote that I want to be working on TV and feature films with breaks in between and travel internationally with my husband. That's a really great goal. I love that. Jenny, you should try to reach out to Louis Zakarian. He does this Saturday Night Live stuff. He's in New York. So resource list. I gave 5 books that I read that are really, really, really great tools for completely transforming your mindset and your life. Because they did for me, and I know a lot of other people it has too. I share these with everybody. The first one that I came across that I felt had the most dramatic experience from was the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So if you go to your workbook on page 8, the number 1 that I wrote is Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It's I actually have it on Audible, and it's like 8 hours long or something crazy like that. It's a very, very long Audible download. And then the book itself is very thick. So somebody just put in the chat, I would like to be crazy busy with events and possibly travel for work purposes as well. Great. That's an awesome one. I like that a lot. Do you want to do events like red carpet events? Sorry, my computer keeps wobbling. So Success Principles, basically, Jack Canfield is the author of the Soup for the Soul books. So he's very big. And pretty much anything that's in that like self-help world, he's kind of like one of the big people. And he was kind of one of the first ones that started the whole thing. I mean, if you really, really, really get into it, there's a lot of people that you could read. There's, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He actually, I forget exactly who it was that Jack Canfield interned under. I forget who it was, but it's a very, very big person. So he talks about all these different principles of being successful, making money, finding the love of your life, all of these different things. And they're profound. So definitely check it out. There's a lot of success stories that he gives throughout the book. It's really, really great. The second one is She Means Business by Carey Green. I already showed you guys that one. If any of you guys have the ambition of creating your own makeup line or a salon or a store, anything that would have to do with selling products. So say you want to write a book or anything like that, this is a very good book for you guys. It's incredibly helpful. She marries the mindset, like law of attraction stuff, with the business aspect of everything so beautifully. I love it. And I've read the book itself, I think 2 times physically, but I listened to her Audible, I think 7 times now. It's ridiculous. Belinda says, I want to do everything as of now so I can really find where my passion lies. That's a really great one. I love that because you will find out. And the only way that you can find out is if you try everything. So that's a great one. Number 3 is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Oh, there's a typo on that. Her name is Sincero, not Sincere. Jen Sincero. So if you guys have ever heard of the book You Are a Badass, it's another really great book about the law of attraction, mindset work, things like that. And she has a really funny edge to it. So she is very open about the fact that she was like always really resistant to any type of like woo-woo type of things. And not that I was like ever against it, because I've always been a firm believer in all of it because I've seen it happen. I've seen it work for my life literally since I was a young girl. But sometimes people can be really weird. You come across some real interesting people in that world. So it's a really great book for those of you that, might be, kind of like, I could do without it or whatever. Read that book. It's a really great one. The Secret, which is, everybody knows that one, whether you read the book or if you want to watch the documentary. The documentary, I prefer watching the documentary over reading the book. That's just a personal preference, though. And then 5, You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. Jenny's getting ready to go late on the East Coast, but I'll watch the rest of this weekend. Thanks so much for this workshop. Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. Have a good night. So You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor is a really, really good book. Personally, I think that this is very, it helps a lot with retraining our minds for success. The idea that you were born rich, basically his concept is like, you're born a baby regardless, like you had no conditioning to you whatsoever. So like the only reason why we create the idea of money, like the negative idea of money or the negative idea of being a struggling artist, is through conditioning. So basically his concept is to recondition or rewire your brain back to when we were born. So not taking, like just relearning everything so that as children, we think anything is possible. And it's a really cool thing that he talks about. So that's a good one. He's really funny too. If you ever listen to his, if you Google him, Google Bob Proctor on either Google or YouTube, and he has some really good lectures. So check that out. And then the meditations, there's 5 of them as well. The Financial Well-Being Meditation by Abraham Hicks is a really good one. I've shared that with several friends, and every one of them have given me really great feedback on them. When I was listening to them from that particular one from Abraham Hicks, almost always, it's really bizarre, I know it sounds crazy, but almost always after I listen to the meditation and actually meditate with it, I end up getting work from it. It's very bizarre. So try it out and let me know if any positive things happen afterwards. Reprogram Your Mind for Success Visualization with Carey Green. The link is in the workbook. So check that one out. It's a really good one. The guided meditation for stress and anxiety for beginners. So if you guys don't really meditate yourself and it'd be something new to you, that's a good one. We all have stress and anxiety, so it's going to help release that. Headspace and Calm, the Headspace and Calm apps. They're both meditation apps. Those ones are really great for beginners as well. So check those out. I've actually heard a lot of people that have taken my workshops do the Calm app, and they always have a great experience with that. Alrighty, so getting clear. So now that we have our goals of what we want to do in the industry, goals of the people we want to work with, goals on money, and goals on lifestyle, we're going to go ahead and get very, very specific on how we can achieve these. So now that you know what you want, how you want to feel, and where you want to be, let's go ahead and get clear and make it happen. The first section is, how much money do you need to make in order to live comfortably? We have to. You guys have to figure this out. Nobody is going to be able to understand how much money they need to make every single month or like have that goal unless they know all their expenses and their budgets of how much they need to minimally make, and then have that lifestyle. So what I was saying before about if you want a certain lifestyle, you have to figure out how much is that going to cost. So for me, my monthly budget comes out to be roughly like $2,000 to $2,500. It's just a rough estimate. So what I need to do is I need to make over $2,500 a month. So where the $5,000 to $6,000 goal, that's so that I have that much extra money to spend on the things that I want to spend on. So the things I want to spend on are traveling, being able to, fund for the type of products that I want to have in my kit, to be able to, have the luxury of going to nice restaurants. What are those lifestyle things, and how much money, do you need to make, and then have the extra to do those things? So I hope that makes sense. All right, so what is your income goal for 2018? It's another thing that you want to have in your mind. For me, I just put $60,000. All right, so what I want you guys to do is write down that income goal for 2018. and divide this number by 12. So this number is going to give you what you have to make each month to hit your yearly income goal for 2018. So for me, let's see. So 60,000 divided by 12 is $5,000 a month. So in order to make $60,000 a month, I have to make $5,000. I'm sorry. In order to make $60,000 a year, I have to make $5,000 a month. So with taxes and everything like that, blah, 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 I just made it $6,000. So that's just you don't have to count that in if you don't want to. So this is what really helps me doing, getting laser focused. You have to understand, okay, you want to be a millionaire? How much money do you have to make every single month in order to hit that number? And it starts to give you the true reality of what you need to do and how much you need to charge, which is the next section. How many days per month would you have to work and at what rate? So if your monthly income comes down to, after you divide it in 12 from your yearly, you can determine how many days a month you want to work. So this would be, for me, if I want to work 10 days out of the month, I would have to charge $500 a day. Do you see where I'm going with this? You have to be very, very, very specific. You have to understand your numbers, and you have to understand what you need to do with the type of goals you have. If you want to work in feature films, this is a great second example. So say you want to work in feature films. Usually, if we're talking, if you're working on one feature film that's pretty average and it's just a 4-week deal, you're looking at 26 days, we'll say. So, 20, we'll just say 24 to be safe, because sometimes you are working 5 days a week and sometimes you're working 6. Sometimes you work all the way through, which is just nuts. But so we'll take 6,000 and we'll divide that by 24. So your day rate would have to be $250 to get 6,000. If it were 5,000, it would be $208 a day. Okay? So you want to get as specific as possible with this so that you can see what you need to make. So if you and play around with these numbers. How much money would you make in a month if your rate was $350 on a 20-day shoot? Obviously, if you're someone like me who does a lot of different jobs throughout the month, your day rate's going to change. It's not always going to be $500. Sometimes it's $800, sometimes it's $1,200, sometimes it's $250, sometimes it's $350. It varies quite a bit, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just a matter of what the budget is per person. Sometimes, if you're doing an individual person for only an hour of your time, that also, goes into it as well. So, but this is just numbers so that you guys can see, you can really map out and understand what you need to do and all of that stuff. Okay? All right. So, next page is page 10, getting clear. So, what are some micro goals that you could achieve to get to your monthly goal? So, okay, if you have the monthly goal of $5,000 and you're understanding that you have 10, for me, I put $10 gigs a month at $500 a day. What do I need to do to work 10 days a month for $500? So what I have to do, micro goals, is list out the people that I worked with in the past that usually pay that rate, and see if they need my services. Another thing that you can do is make a Facebook status, an Instagram post, whatever, essentially saying that you are available for work. You can reach out to fellow makeup artists saying, hey, I'm available for these days. Do you need, any additional makeup artists? So micro goals, very small, achievable goals that you can essentially, that will get you to getting your 10 days or 20 days that you need to achieve for that month's income goal. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you the question, which is the next question on the sheet. Do you currently have anything holding you back? So is there anything that's holding you back from reaching out to these people, from connecting back with people, from following up with people? And figure out what might be holding you back. Is it fear of rejection? Is it fear that you are going to be annoying? Is it fear that, I don't know. There's a lot of fear-based things that causes procrastination and causes us to not really go for what we want to go for. So try to really dig deep and figure out what's holding you back. Are you scared that you won't be able to fulfill a job properly? You know, are you scared that that person, if you reach out to them, will never hire you again? What is the reason why? You know, for me with the agencies, there is some weird thing going on in my subconscious that I am, for some reason, very scared to reach out to agents. And I don't know why. So what I have to do is figure that reason why. It could be because I'm really scared to be, you know, because here's the thing. I mean, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, agency represented artists make a lot of money. So, you know, if I'm looking at my patterns, there is a pattern that I have a fear of making money and a fear of success. So maybe that fear of money, of making a lot of money, is, you know, is getting in the way. Okay? Okay. The next question is, do you visualize yourself achieving these goals? It's another thing that I haven't been doing with the agency stuff. I did for a while. Like for the 2 years, I was just really scared. I was really scared to contact these agents. I don't know why. Like I said, it could be the fear of making money. But I started doing some deep self-work, and I started visualizing, okay, like what would it feel like if I was working on a press junket? What would it feel like if I was working on a press tour? What would it feel like if I was specifically a men's groomer? And then I realized I'm not like fully prepared to be a men's groomer at this point. I haven't gotten any further training on men's grooming. So I'm not like 100% confident the way that I was 5 years ago when I was, you know, doing a lot of men's cutting and things like that. So what I did is I signed up for that, you know, that company that does the men's grooming stuff at home. And that's kind of like my way of approaching that. And I also reached out to the agencies. So that's kind of what I did. I started visualizing myself doing that, and then I analyzed what I needed to do to get there and feel comfortable about it. Another thing you have to ask yourself are they believable? Now, if you have goals for yourself of, you know, you want to work with Johnny Depp, if you want to work on a certain show like, I don't know, what are some really big shows right now? We'll just say American Horror Story. If you want to work on American Horror Story, if you want to make a certain amount of money, if you want to travel a bunch with a particular brand, if you want to work with a specific brand for commercials and ad campaigns, those are all really, really great goals. But at the end of the day, do you believe that you yourself can actually achieve those goals? Because if you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to actually achieve those goals. You're always going to find excuses of why you're not going to actually do the things that you need to do to achieve those goals. So for the longest time, like, and it still, I think, haunts me, is like, I don't think I've ever fully believed that I would be able to work with high profile, like A-list celebrities. I don't know why. I mean, I've worked with plenty of celebrities, but like actually working with them where I'm like, you know, traveling with them and things like that and doing press junkets and things like that. I never believed in myself. So I think that's another block that I have. So when you don't have when you have blocks and you don't believe in yourself that you can do those, believing is a huge thing. And it goes with confidence as well. You have to work on that. So you can have these massive, massive, massive goals, but if you don't actually believe it, and I'm not saying that it's a believable goal. I'm not saying that if you want to be a millionaire, like, oh, well, that's not actually like realistic. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you have to believe that you are going to be a millionaire. You yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If you want to work with Johnny Depp, you better believe that you're going to and actually believe it. Don't just say it. You have to actually believe it. That's why when one of the first questions that I was asking was about the feelings that you have about where you're at in your career. You have to feel like you're going to achieve these things. Because if you don't feel it and you're not believing that it's going to happen, you're just going to get in your own way. Somebody just typed in affirmations. Yes, affirmations are great. Yes. A great thing that I do, because I always would start doing affirmations and then I would like slowly stop doing them and be consistent about it. I put an affirmation on my phone, my lock screen on my phone. And the affirmation is, I am worthy of success. So try affirmations, something that Bob Proctor talks about doing, and actually Napoleon Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich, is writing on an index card or something where you always have it in your pocket or you always have it in your wallet. And you're taking it out every single day and you're reading it and you actually feel it. The whole Jim Carey story of him like making $10 million, he wrote himself a check and he felt what it felt like, or he felt what it would feel like when he made that. Everything is based on feelings. Things happen when you get like really involved with your feelings. All right, and then I have a bonus exercise that I just added in the workbook, is write down your monthly income from each month in 2017. Now, this was actually the workbook that I had for January. So what you can do is you could probably just, if you want to go back into either your bank statements or what I did, I always write all the jobs that I've done and how much money I got from them in my planner, in my agenda book, not my agenda book, my schedule book. So I always know exactly how much I make every single month. I know what jobs I worked on, how much they were paying. And so I was able to do this pretty easily. So if you don't do that, you might have to like go on your bank statements or something. So this is an exercise that really, really, really helped me. This is a very eye-opening exercise for me. So for the last 12 months, write down your monthly income that you had and circle the 2 months with the highest amount of money that you made. Was there something you did differently for those 2 months? Now, like I said, I write everything out. I have goals. I write things like it's crazy. I'm a huge to-do lister. Like I list things out and I write things out. And something that I noticed for my 2 months, last year, so 1 month was $8,000 and the other one was $6,000. And what I did during those months was I was consistently meditating and doing yoga. And I was doing a lot of mindset work. Like I took a program, an actual like online program. It was actually Jen Sincero's, the Badass Chicks. She's the author of You Are a Badass. She has like a program. I took that program and all of the exercises that she had all the students like of us do, that particular month was when I made, I think that was the $8,000 month. So that was a really, really great experience that I had. And then the other month, the $6,000 month, was when I was doing that 60-day, the yoga and meditation 60-day thing that I did. It was really, really cool. All right, so page 11 is just an extra thing that I created for you guys, which is your monthly budget. This is really, really helpful for you to see exactly how much money you need to be putting away for things that you need to pay for. And then, like I said, when I was saying how much money you need to make every single month in order to live wherever it is that you live, and then see how much extra, so if you want to do certain things, if you want to travel, if you want to buy certain products, if you want to, look a certain way, if you want to have a certain, spending lifestyle or something like that, how much money in addition to your monthly budget do you have to make in order to have that lifestyle? You have to get very, very, very specific about this, because if you don't, I wasn't like this for the longest time, and I went into crazy, crazy, crazy debt because of it. So be aware. So do this on your own time. This is obviously something like, I'm not going to share all my personal expenses with you guys. I'm going to get too personal. But so this goes to the last page of the workbook. So we're almost finished. Thank you guys that are still here. I know it's late in a lot of different areas of the country and the world. So thank you for sticking around. So page 12 is just basically the overview. What are your monthly goals? So just write out, after this session, how do you feel? What are your monthly goals? And then this is where it starts to get more specific. Starting to write down your weekly goals and then your daily goals. It helps when you start breaking things down on a very micro managing way. I know it sounds silly and it sounds annoying to maybe some of you, but it does help. Breaking everything down and really analyzing everything will help you in the long run. Okay, so that concludes the workshop. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. I had obviously a lot of tangents and things like that. We did hit the 2-hour mark. So please feel free, if you're watching this as a replay, if you have questions, email me. But definitely, you guys, if anybody is here watching, and whether it's the replay or the live, that's new to our community, definitely scroll down on the page that you're on and hook up with us on, our Instagram, our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that good stuff, because we do a lot of things where in the Facebook group, I post, things every single day, discussions about, things in the industry, polls. I do, I share videos that are super inspirational, and there's a lot of amazing artists that are in that forum, in that group, that love to support each other. So definitely check that out. And let's see what else. Our YouTube channel, we're really starting to get momentum with our with some of the video content that we will be releasing to you guys, and it's going to be really, really amazing, and I can't wait. So definitely subscribe so that you can always be a part of anything that we're going to be releasing in the upcoming months, because there's going to be a lot of really great stuff. And we just did a makeup challenge. It's already over, but if you get on our email list, you'll always be in the know of whenever our makeup challenges are. We always bring in celebrity makeup artists to judge. This particular one was with Kat Passion and Nico Gonzalez from Face Off. So, and it was Star Wars themed. It was really, really fun. So, yeah, so be a part of our community in any way possible. We love hearing from you guys, and I personally love doing these free workshops. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Let's see. Oh, hi, Amber. Took the goal workshop in January and absolutely loved it. It's helped me so much this year. Need to do half your goals again. Yay! So you were here in January. That's awesome. I know exactly who you are, Amber HMUA. I'm pretty sure I follow you on both of our accounts, my personal one and the What It Takes one. I'm pretty sure, because I see your stuff all the time. I do know that. I'm watching you. I'm just kidding, but I am following you. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I hope this was helpful. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can say. Yeah, I think that's it. If you guys have anything else to say, Amber, I'll wait just another minute. I know you guys thank you guys for staying for this long. I really appreciate it. If you guys if you have any suggestions of upcoming workshops, please let me know. I love doing workshops. as a lot of you guys know. And I want to see what you guys want. You know, I do things, some of the past ones I've done are how to stand out as a makeup artist, how to make more money as a makeup artist, obviously the goal setting stuff, which is like my favorite. I did get a request for social media, which I believe I'm going to be doing next month. So, you know, I think that it'll be really, really helpful because social media, you guys, I've learned a lot. I've taken so many trainings for the past 2 years on Facebook, Instagram, things like that. So I have a lot to share. So I'll probably be doing that next month. So, but if there's anything else that you guys would like to request, please let me know. Yay, Sally says this was great. Thank you. You're welcome, Sally. 2919 says thank you so much. You're welcome. Belinda, thank you so much. This was my first one, but I'm excited to join more. Yay, Belinda, that's so exciting. And please let me know what Kathy says. She's amazing. She's really, really amazing. You will love her. Yes, so thank you guys again. I follow you too, and I love seeing everything you're doing for the makeup artist community. Yay! Thank you, 2919. I love the purple heart. But yes, I love you guys so much. And here's the thing. From my experience anyways, I feel like there's not many artists that are talking so intimately about making money and the mindset aspect of it, and even the wellness. Like later on in the upcoming months, I'm really, really once I get certified, I don't want to do anything until I'm certified with yoga, specifically yoga. Nobody is talking about how detrimental it is to take care of our spines. We have to. So anyways, this is something that I am truly to the core passionate about, is sharing anything and everything I can of learning experiences, wisdom, inspiration, and motivation, you know. So I'm here for you guys. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I don't want to keep you guys for longer because you've already been here for over 2 hours. So have a wonderful, wonderful night, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you guys in the next workshop or in the Facebook group. So I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Bye.